Hello, and here we are with Vibe It Up, multiple streams of wellness with Dr. Alexis Johnson. And today our guest is Vesna Matic. We're here today to discuss all kinds of different types of wellness, to give awareness to the public and to help give a platform for all of our alternative wellness practitioners, of which Vesna Matic is one. She has a master's in arts in clinical psychology, excuse me, and an LMLP, which is a licensed master's level psychologist, and is a certified integral health practitioner, which encompasses both the Eastern and the Western psychologies and philosophies. The combined education and disciplines have opened doors to Vesna becoming a transformational counselor, a pranic healer, a shaman, a spiritual director, reverend, and certified constellations facilitator. Vesna has developed several pathways for personal therapy that integrate the science of mental health and the dimension of the human spirit to address the full spectrum of the human experience. Vesna has several approaches for therapeutic counseling. She provides one-on-one sessions in an office or home setting for comfort and security, and in an adventurous exploration of multi-level healing, Vesna has taken her diverse spiritual experiences to offer clients international tours to ancient and sacred sites for participation in cultural traditions as a journey guide under Visions for Life, through ceremonies with shamans of the Amazon, the rainforest, and Incan traditions, the spiritual masters of Nepal and Bhutan, and the foundational mysticism of ancient Europe. These journeys have sparked deep emotional healing and inspired new and expansive motivation to live life with great purpose and joy for participants who seek the full connection of body, mind, and spirit. So welcome, Vesna Matic, today.
Thank you so much, Alexis. I always love being on your show with you. I love the topics and well, of course, you. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. This must be our third show together. And I know you brought a guest today, so we better introduce our guest so our audience wonders who this handsome gentleman is sitting in front and center. We have Brad Grimm.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about him, Vesna?
Yes. Brad is a client of mine, and we have had quite a history. And kind of a little bit of a roller coaster ride for Brad. Brad came in due to issues with substances and had been kind of struggling with the drugs for some time, and then was or is right now just, I would say, gracious enough to kind of come here with me and share his experiences. So I really, really appreciate you being here, Brad. Thank you. Yeah. So, you know, those were my words, but I would love to have you, Brad, kind of talk about your journey. You know, what has that been like for you?
Yeah, so glad to be on the show. Nice to meet you, Lexi and Vesna. Thank you for inviting me as well. Always a joy to share my story. Yeah, it's been a rugged past, right? There's been some highs and lows coming from starting out even as, you know, a toddler to, you know, childhood experiences of a traumatic environment with my parents as far as physical abuse, verbal abuse, right? Vesna helping me to uncover those areas of my life, working pretty closely with me. I mean, some serious crying sessions along the way. And ultimately, I would overcompensate with teachers to get noticed and have to have the perfect score and have to have the perfect grade, or wanted to make sure that my crayons were on inside the lines. So I would get noticed, right? Because I wasn't getting noticed at home. I would get noticed at home, but I get noticed in a negative way. So this is the way I would seek out attention as a middle child growing up in a small town in Ohio, from parents that were pretty well to do on the outside, but it was a train wreck on the inside. You know, we were the family that had a business. You would have never thought these types of things where, you know, I'll get a little bit vulnerable where I would literally, try to make it up the steps before my dad would beat me down. And this was at a very young age. And some of the earliest memories of, you're going to get beat with a belt. You're going to learn your lesson. You're never going to amount to anything.
Ooh.
Well, those words would play out, right, in my life at some point, right? So, that was tough, right? Those were tough years. And we would go on. And again, like I said, I want to be the overachiever, right? The perfectionist to get noticed, right? Why did I have to be perfect about everything? Well, because mom would take the white glove behind me to make sure I did my chores properly.
Oh my goodness.
So, this was how I lived, right? And if I didn't bring home a perfect score, I was going to get a talking to, right? What are you doing? Why aren't you doing homework? Why'd you do this? Why'd you just play baseball instead of doing your studies? So I sought refuge in sports and became pretty successful at sports in high school. Was recruited to college for football, and would ultimately end up going to the Ohio State University, right? So, and then I thought, well, I've arrived, right? So now I'm out of home, and I became, fraternity manager, association, elected to the student board at Ohio State University. Super successful, getting internships with Merrill Lynch and Ryder Dedicated Logistics. And just became like I was in the zone, right? Fraternity president, vice president, social chairman, rush chairman of my fraternity. And this wasn't a small fraternity. We had 130, 140 members. So,
like you were still seeking approval. You still had to be the perfect whatever you.
Absolutely, Lexi, great insight, because that's right. It had to be noticed, had to be overachiever, right? And I fit that role pretty well, right? So, but sometimes even to the point of, in the fraternity, even cheating on a test, right, to make that grade, right? And because I had this incessant need to be on top,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's right. We'll talk about that later. Yeah. So this was how, so on the outside, again, on the outside, you'd say, wow, what a successful young man, right? Working for Merrill Lynch and a Fortune 500 company. And then I landed an internship with the state treasurer of Ohio in 1996. I'm dating myself, right? So then, I was working on his cabinet, then he was elected to the state treasurer. And, then I have a position as assistant scheduler and a speech writer for the treasurer. And, next thing you know, I'm like, wow, I have arrived. Right. And, so
what I heard you say is that part of you really wanted the success. You wanted to climb the ladder of success and get to someplace. But another part of you was actually doing it because you had an emotional need because of all the abuse you'd been through.
Correct. Thank you for that. Yeah, that's right. Vesna's taught me that too over the years, the last 4 or 5 years, and I've learned a lot from that. Being grounded with not having a choice but to take a look at these serious issues in my life, right? Mm-hmm. Of seeking approval, Lexi, to your point, right? And that's really what it was. It was seeking approval from either my peers or my teachers or whoever, my parents. I'd always call back and say how successful I was. I still wanted to be that 12-year-old kid that wanted their approval. So, here I am working for the state treasurer. I'm in the 9th Florida Roads Tower. I've got the corner office right in downtown Columbus, Ohio. I'm writing speeches, and then, right. And then cocaine was introduced to me. Right. So I had befriended a guy. I was 6.5 years in college at that point, was 3 classes short of my degree, 2 degrees. And, I tried the drugs for the first time. That was the first drug I ever tried before marijuana. Right. I had maybe drank alcohol at 18 years old, but this would absolutely cripple me pretty quickly. right? Pretty quickly, I was addicted within a few months. So now I've got a cocaine addiction, and it was tough. Like now we're talking, 25-year, 26-year addiction until I would meet Vesna, right? And from being on that 9th-floor Rhodes Tower to ending up in prison.
Oh my.
Multiple rehabs, halfway houses. I would surface in hospitals, and it was just a treacherous journey. There was a few bouts of sobriety in there, seeking different forms of treatment through faith-based rehabs or secular rehabs or palm reading at one point. And, this is so I can remember thinking, what's the answer for me? Right. And I always thought the answer lied outside of myself for me, inside. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to really dial that in, and it took a lot of pain to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it's still a work in progress. Right. Right, Vesna, it's still a work in progress. So, these bouts of prison because I wouldn't do a clean urine, right? Or I would steal to support my habit, and the judge had no choice but to lock me up.
Mm.
Right? And this is the last time, Brad. And I said, well, I promise I'll do it differently next time. And I wouldn't do it differently. So he didn't have a choice, right? Their hands were tied. So I went to prison for a few months, and jail stints and different things and DUIs. And it's just been a tough, treacherous journey, right? So that's kind of like the backdrop to my story. That's some vulnerability in there, right? So, but with that, I believe with vulnerability comes healing, right?
Absolutely.
So I feel like this is a safe place. Obviously, with Vesna here, it's a safe place, right? And
it's a safe place with the three of us here, but you do realize you're on international television telling your story.
Sure.
But I'm going to interrupt you just for a minute because we need to take a commercial break. And
Okay.
to our audience, we do have a fabulous gift for you. If you pick up your cell phones and put your camera on, you can scan the QR code or take a snapshot of the link and come back to it later to get your gift. And we'll be right back with Vibe It Up Multiple Streams of Wellness and Vesna Matic and her guest, Brad Grimm, and myself, Dr. Alexis Johnson. See you in a minute. And we're right back with Multiple Streams of Wellness with Vesna Matic, myself, Dr. Alexis Johnson, and our special guest, Vesna's special guest, Brad Grimm. And I just want to thank you very much for being here, Graham, because that is a very difficult thing to talk about yourself that way. And I know that there are many people in our audience that are going to get such tremendous benefit from hearing your story and how you're coming out the other side. So would you please continue and tell us where you're at now? Or continue with where your story was at to get to where you're at now?
Yeah. So thanks for asking. Right. Yeah. So I've been working with Vesna now since what's 2019, Vesna?
Yeah, right around there. Yeah.
Pretty closely, and there's been ebbs and flows, like Vesna said. But as of late, we have totally just grounded and centered upon getting even more vulnerable and being open to other forms and methods of treatment, which was the Arapi, right? And what a difference it's made to me. And I know Vesta's going to share some of the things that I shared with her about the benefits of the Arapi, but I can tell you it has opened up a portal in my life that has made a difference that I would have never thought would have made a difference. I did it because Vesta suggested I might want to do it, right? I trusted her, right? Mm-hmm. But wow, I can't even begin to tell you that.
Have a strong level of trust with someone when you're trying to get off of a drug to try another drug. But this was a plant medicine, not just any other drug. So let me interrupt you for a moment. Vesna, can we hear from you for a second? Would you like to talk to us a little bit about the Arape?
Sure. So Rape comes from Peru, and the spelling, the thing I don't like is that it is spelled like rape, except the accent is on the E, so it's Rape, but it can also be spelled R-A-P-E-H, okay? So with Rape, one of the primary ingredients is a tobacco that only grows in the rainforest. And I'm going to make a little plug here, which is why for me it is imperative that people really begin to start taking care of the earth, and the sacred places, because this is where all of these things come from, So with the Rape,
medicines come from the South American rainforest and mountains as well.
Yeah. So that is one of the primary ingredients, is this tobacco. And what is done, so they will take this along with other plants, other medicines that grow there in the area, and it depends on what it is going to be used for. This is all ground very fine into a powder.
Okay.
And then it is actually administered inside the nasal cavity, and both sides, the right and the left. A small amount is, I administer it. I have a pipe, so to speak, that I use in order to administer it to my client. And it does not take very long to get into the system. And then what I always say is that these plant medicines have been around 4 centuries, and they have a consciousness, of their own, and they are here in order to help us, human beings, and particularly now with all of these shifts, that they help us into this new consciousness. And so, Brad, if you don't mind, I mean, what you have really shared with all of us, I cannot tell you how much I thank you, for your honesty.
It's amazing for you to come forward like that. I want to point out something, though, that when you talk about plants having consciousness, science has discovered, they've taken all kinds of studies of plants, putting them in a scientific room, like an enclosed room, and just growing them like normal plants, any particular plant, nothing specific, and having people into the room who have previously not been nice to the plants, neglected them, and done horrible things to them. And then they've had people come into the room who are, daily taking care of the plants, picking off the dead leaves, watering them, talking to them, singing to them, things like that. And visibly they've done photography and visibly taken pictures of these plants turning towards the people that they have an affinity to, that were good to them, and turning away from the people that were mean to them. So that's the type of consciousness that we're talking about in a very simple form. But the type that, of yours, those plants have an actual healing to them. And that consciousness, once it's inside of the body, it communicates with something in the body, either your higher consciousness or something that we don't even understand. And it gives you what you need, not just, oh, hey, we're going to have a nice high, we're going to have a nice experience, but it actually gives you the benefit that is the intention of the herb or the plant in the first place. That's what I wanted to point out to our audience, because, Vesna, you and I understand these things from years and years of study, but our audience doesn't necessarily understand what we're talking about. So I just wanted to point that out, and I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, no, that's fine. And yes, and so with the experiments that you were talking about, even, it's so funny, even putting music, when they played loud, I'll say rap, those kinds of things, the plants,
Acid rock and hard rock,
yeah,
exactly. Heavy
yeah,
metal. The plants
you know,
don't like it.
no, they stopped growing, and showed that, hey, I don't like this stuff. Whereas putting very soft music, and I'll say,
Apparently, the plants
you
really
know,
like Beethoven and Chopin, especially Chopin.
yeah, yeah, which tells us a lot. Not only, here it is as a plant, a regular house plant that does this. So you can imagine what it does to us, as human beings, our bodies, since, we are spirit in human form in this body. So it definitely affects us.
Yeah.
And with the rape, the intention is not to get high. Okay, the intention is to balance out, correct, so whatever is off center in the body. And so I do have a rape specifically for addiction, substance use, which is what Brad took. And so what Brad and I did was we got together 3 days in a row, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And each day that Brad came, I administered the rape. And then during, also after having administered, I was doing a guided meditation with Brad. And one of the things that I had suggested to Brad is, it is so important to take care of ourselves, especially when really doing this intense work. And one of the things that I had suggested to Brad was taking a bath in salt, because salt also just, kind of extracts all of that heavy energy and whatever, does not serve us. And so, if you want to share a little bit about that, Brad.
Oh, love to, Vesna. Thank you. That was one of the highlights of, the whole, what I call sort of a weekend retreat, right? Getting off work on Friday and decompressing, arriving at Vesna's place by, say, 6 p.m., 6:30 p.m. And so we had the first session, and then we segued into Saturday, and through her suggestion was to take the salt bath, which, it's just, maybe it's my personality, but, I'm take a shower, never slow down, take a bath, always have to be doing the next right thing. What's the next project? And just this incessant need to be doing another project, right? So taking a bath was like, are you kidding me? Right? So I took the bath because, again, there's a trust level. She told me, Brad, take a bath. And I said, a bath? What? So I took the bath, right? And I had a bag of Epsom salt. And I thought, okay. Right. And it happened to be a weekend where my girlfriend of 8 years and our daughter, Adelaide, were in Wisconsin. So I had the run of the house, so to speak. So there was calmness. And this is all in God's perfect timing, right? God, right? All in its perfect timing. So here I was jumping in the bathtub on Saturday morning at 8:30 in the morning, because our session was at 10:30, best 11 o'clock. So I did it, and holy cow, if it didn't change the whole temperature of my personality, the arape on Friday, the anticipation of another session, and I literally was a different person coming out of the bathtub and with the salt bath.
Epsom salts very high in magnesium, and magnesium is a mineral that most North Americans are very low on because of our farming practices. We don't summer follow and let the land rest like we used to, and the chemicals that we put back in for the types of nitrogen and things that we put back in as fertilizer, we don't include magnesium. So that's one of the things that your body just slurps up when you have a bath, and it's in the Dead Sea salts. It's in all kinds of other types of baths as well. So that's probably what was going on with you.
Yeah, all makes sense. All makes sense. Yeah, all makes sense, doctor, because, me personally, I experienced that, a lightness to the day and staying ahead of the day and just a calmness. I mean, everything was just different. So, and then even getting out of the bath, and I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to take a video, right? It was prepared for the next session with Vesna and getting ready to get my car and drive to her. I thought, well, let me take a picture of the birds real quick, right? A video of the birds, and they were just chirping and I've never heard them before. And I started to take a video, and I'm in the desert of Arizona, and here comes a red bird, which is very uncommon to see, and literally went right in the center of my camera. Now, if those stars don't align, right, you can't make this up. So it was just another confirmation, right, of this journey, that just a stamp of approval, right? That it's just something that I saw that was greater than myself, right? Greater than me, greater than anybody listening. It was just something that just showed up, and it was like, wow, look at this. And I sent that video to Vesna, saying, you can't make this up. Right. You can't make this up. So, and then I would get in the car for the next session, right? And I'll let Vesna go from here. But yeah, we would have the next session within a half hour of that video. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, so that was really powerful. And as Brad said, a sign, we always get these signs from whatever word you use, universe, God, spirit.
Right, correct.
And they're amazing. So on the third day, on Sunday, after administering the rape to Brad, what I had asked Brad was if his drug of choice, the cocaine, if it had a face to it.
Right.
Okay. And, I was just kind of getting these hits for myself as far as, what to do on this last meditation, this last day that we were together. And so, I really took Brad into this meditation and asked him to come face to face with the spirit of the drug, the cocaine, since everything has a spirit, and of course the street drugs definitely do. And so I felt that for Brad it was important to sit down with the spirit of the cocaine, have this conversation with it, and really picture what it looked like, and tell the drug what had happened to Brad, after all of these years of using it, and then releasing it, letting it go, saying that, hey, I don't need you anymore. And I do also have a crystal singing bowl, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, before you get into the singing bowl, I do want to make a comment about the red bird, because there is a very special meaning about it. I want to tell you in a second. But before that, I want to do another commercial break. We have to thank our sponsors, who are me and you and all kinds of other people. So everyone, please grab your phone. We're going to ask you to put your camera on and take a picture of the QR code so you can get another gift, or just take a snapshot of the link so that after our show, you can go to that link and download a gift. And we'll be right back with multiple streams of wellness.
Great.
back with Vibe It Up Multiple Streams of Wellness. And we were talking before the break with Brad Grimm and his coach and counselor, Vesna Matic. And we were talking about how halfway or partway through the treatment, he woke up and saw a red bird and how unusual that was. I looked it up for you, but I do know about the spirit animal, and the red bird, a cardinal, if it were a cardinal, was a very, very important and significant point in your journey. And when you said you can't make this stuff up, I just want to read to our audience what it was that we can't make up, because the red bird represents a significant personal transformation, progress, movement into higher levels of consciousness. This fascinating animal is very self-confident. It can help you to live up to your fullest potential as it encourages you to explore new directions and take risks in order to grow as an individual. And it gives me a bunch of bullet points I'd just like to read you really quickly. Strong self-confidence, strong personalities, assertiveness, power over self and others, physical and mental alertness, the ability to adapt to circumstances without problems, even starting from scratch, the importance of family, ancestors, and home, loyalty and protection, and the importance of sharing with others, which is what you're doing here today, and the spiritual connection with the forces of the whole universe and intuition. Then it goes on to talk about a whole bunch of other things. So you're welcome to go and look that up. But I just wanted to just bring to the world's attention here how the Harape and your consciousness melded together to give you the exact message that you needed to hear. And Vesna was giving you the transformation that you needed. And because, like, I got to give you a lot of credit. I'm so proud of you, Brad, because that you took the steps to deal with your issues, and that you kept trying whatever you kept trying until you got to someone who actually made the difference for you. I just give you the biggest pat on the back and high five, because that is a huge step. And for anyone that's having any type of addiction problems, to keep trying, no matter how down and low you get, keep trying until you find Vesna. Until you find some way of helping yourself. But Vesna certainly made a difference.
Correct.
And you were given that red bird as a symbol to tell you were in the right path and you were on your way.
Right. Amazing. I mean, it's like I said, you can't make it up, because I thought, my goodness, I zoomed in on the birds, and right in the center of my camera, I said, "Is that a red bird?" I didn't even know, Dr. Johnson, what you were going to say there. I had no idea.
Please call me Lexus.
Almost okay. Thank you, but it's almost exactly. I mean, that what you just read. It's like I want to read it again and again, right? Because that's what happened. And that's what was happening.
I'll take a screenshot of it and send it to you. How about that?
Yeah, pretty cool.
If I can here.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. So
well, I know that that's what the red bird means, but just in the break, I knew I needed to say something about the red bird. And I thought, well, I know a lot about this, but I want to hear it from somebody that, you know, is confirming for me. So in the break, I looked it up, and it was the first site that came up. But I know sometimes when other people look things up, Google finds something different for them. So I'll send this to you for sure. Right. Yeah, but Vesna?
Yeah, and you know, exactly as you said, Lexus. I mean, it really a confirmation. You know, Brad, you have been on this winding road for for some time.
Right.
And so just to see all of this really unfold and come into fruition is absolutely amazing. And I guess I want to also go back, but reiterate, like with all of the trauma, Brad, that you went through as a child, with the verbal, the physical abuse. We as human beings can really endure so much, but that does not mean that it does not leave scars behind. And because of those scars, and then that pain that we experience, it's always back here. It's always there, and of course in our heart. So the substances are a way of dealing with all of that. And that's why for me it really is imperative to go back to those situations, those times that really did cause that angst, that pain, you know. So again, you know, you having you're the one that's done all of the work, Brad, and you know, there are no words for what you've done. Brad was also you know, such a dear for sending me a list of things that the benefits that he has gone now that he went through taking the rape and the sessions. And I don't know if I can read maybe just a handful of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be helpful.
Okay. So, Brad, here again, you know, these are your words that I'm reading. I am absolutely focused. My mind is sharper. I am 80% more clear of
80.
distracting thoughts.
80%, right?
80%, yeah, yeah. So you mentioned the bird, you know, the cardinal. I have compassion and thoughtfulness to those around me. I am uncommonly grounded,
Right.
which you know, just knowing you, you know, these 3-4 years is huge, right? I am okay with me if I'm not in first place, but I happen to be in first place.
Right. Right.
Love that one. Love that one.
Yeah. 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 That's at work. Right.
Yeah.
That's at work. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and another big one I feel is I am able to forgive myself for hurting myself through years of pain.
Yeah.
So, Brad, let me ask you a question. Do you wish that you had gotten to the rape sooner, or do you feel that the journey that you went on to get to this point had a reason for being?
You know, when you said the second part of the question, right? That's where my first thought instinctively went, is that I understand the journey, right? And had this not happened, this wouldn't happen. Or had this not happened, this wouldn't happen. So I don't question that, right? About the signs and the things that guide us towards Vesna, towards Arape, towards my willingness to try something different, right? Maybe it took experiences many times before to get me to a place where I might not have otherwise, right, quote unquote, taken the salt bath. Right. But my willingness, so the degree of separation from running the show happened through the pain, through another experience or a jail cell or another failure or gosh, here I am again, Vesna. I've done it again. I tried so hard. Here I am again. And that pain, that angst, nobody can describe that. Right. All that leading towards saying, you know what? I need the weekend retreat. I need something different in my life and being open to those things. And that's what happened. So great question. But yes, I don't know. I don't question the journey. I don't question it. I just don't.
So tell us where you are at today. You've been through jail. You've been through the bottoms of the dregs of the barrel. Where are you today right now?
Yeah, the bottoms of the barrel from, you know, 9th Floor Rhodes Tower, you know, as a speechwriter for the State Treasurer of Ohio to, you know, experience of homelessness a weeks at a time, right? To a jail cell, to prison, to, you know, the letdowns and the parents and wondering, you know, where's my son, right? Or girlfriends or, you know, my daughter, right? At one point, even in a relapse, where's my daddy? You know, she's young. Just not fair, right? Yeah. Just not fair. The pain of this whole thing, not only affecting me, and what the Arape helped me to see and helped me to see is that my effect in affect of others in myself, not just me, but others around me, and the ripple effect and what this causes. So where I'm at now, right? Gosh, just at a place where I want to take care of my family. I want to take care of myself. I try to operate in forgiveness of myself, my parents, right? My parents are getting pretty old, right? Mom's in an oxygen
Your
tank.
parents just did the best they could from where they were at. They didn't think they were hurting you. They
Correct.
thought they were doing something good for you, making you tough or making you accomplished, right?
Correct.
They
Correct.
didn't think they were hurting
They were
you.
wrong, right? They were wrong.
Yeah.
That,
Oh,
you know,
of course they were.
they thought that correct, Lexi. They thought they were right.
Yep.
They were not. So where I'm at today, I work when I'm at work, right? I'm gainfully employed through a job that I didn't ask for or interview for, right? Sometimes I used to say a job that I don't deserve, but I changed that, right? It's a job that I do deserve, right? Because of who I am, the person I am, and the journey, right? I got back up one more time, right? I got it back up one more time, and that one more time getting back up made the difference, right? Of so many falls. So if somebody's listening out there, right, don't stop trying.
Absolutely.
Right? Just don't stop trying, right? Get back up. Vesna's coming. Right?
So, Brad, do you feel like you beat this addiction thing? I know you're always going to have it in the back of your mind that that you're that personality, but do you feel you beat it now?
You beat it when you don't get back in the ring, right?
Right.
And that's just instinctively wanting to say that. You beat it by not getting back in the ring with it, right? I can tell you this, right? And part of those benefits were that I wrote to Vesna yesterday, right? Yesterday morning in a quiet time, right? I wrote benefits of the Arape session. One thing that I said was that I've not had any temptation to go back to the drugs, these hard drugs, right? And alcohol, since this session at all.
How long has it been since the session?
So for me right now, gosh, I want to flip to my phone. I'm using my phone for this session, but I want to flip my phone because I keep a tracker, right? But I'm going to say about 90 days.
Just roughly.
I'm going to say 90 days.
Oh,
right?
that's
Close to, right. I'm so happy and proud of that. Here's, the longest I've had in sobriety was like 9 months. I mean, this is since 1997.
wow.
Right. So, right now I'm almost 50. So, and that took my first drug at 24 years old. Right. So it's been a pretty arduous path to say the least. But I'm proud of these 90 days, right? I'm proud of it.
I'm proud of you too.
Yeah, I'm super proud. I mean, you know what I'm proud of the most is I get to be here. I get to bring the money home to my family, right? To take care of my daughter. I get to show up for a weekend retreat. And when you ask me to show up, I show up, right? When I'm at work, I work. I don't play with my phone. I stay focused at my job, right? Because they've gifted me with an amazing job, right? So I'm just in a, the antidote to a lot of this is the gratitude, right? Of those that, like Vesna said, either your God, your spirit, your whatever, the higher being, right? I'm open to all these things, right? So whatever it is that guided me to a place where I'm thankful for even you, Lexi, right? Being on the show, right? Vesta, obviously, for sure. I mean, we cried not so long ago. I mean, literally, another rehab, right? And Vesna showed up on a Sunday morning, right? She's not supposed to be there on a Sunday morning. This is who we're talking to right now, right? She showed up on a Sunday morning, and I had arrived in the rehab late in the night on Saturday, and Vesna, I did it again, and just cried. There's a lot of pain, right? But through that pain burst the other side, kind of what I'm experiencing. Like, my salad's made for work tomorrow, right? Salad, right? Because I want to take care of me, right?
Okay, so I'm going to have to go to another commercial. But when we come back, I want you to tell me what the actual experience was that you had when you were using the rapé.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we'll be right back, folks. Get your cameras out. I want you to scan for another gift, and we'll be right back with multiple streams of wellness. Vibe it up with Vesna Matic, Brad Grimm, and Dr. Alexis Johnson. And we're back with multiple streams of wellness. Vibe it up. Vesna Matic is here with her guest, Brad Grimm, and we're talking about the plant medicine rapé, which comes from South America. So I want to talk to Brad a little bit more about his actual experience with the rapé, and then I want to talk to Vesna about her experiences of going to South America. So Brad, you're first.
Yeah, so it just, I mean, the administration of the rapé, I was nervous at first, like, oh my goodness, what, what's this going to do, right? But would like this calmness came over me as far as when Vesna administered that. I was open to a portal of, I actually saw the spirit of the drug, right? I saw it face to face. That was on the Sunday session. It was like this green image, and like I just closed my eyes and I could actually see it. And I also saw it fade away, right? And that was just after the administration of the rapé, right? And she did the singing bowls, and she was asking me questions about if I can see it. And
so
I thought,
is what you could see, was that the cocaine type drug or the rapé drug?
I saw I saw the cocaine. It was sort of like, I mean, this is my word, but it's not necessarily the word that applies to what I saw. The image I saw, demonic, right? What I saw, what we would call a spirit, but I don't even know if that's the word for it. What I saw was real. And this was after day 3. What I saw was a green, just a weird figure, but I saw it right in front of my face. And then I also saw it drift away. You have no place in my life anymore, right? I made that declaration in front of its face, and it left, and it's left since. It's left since. I mean, I've had situations, 90 days is not a long time, I understand, but it's a long time. I've had a few instances where typically I would turn towards the drugs as my solution. That is not my solution today. My solution is to get through it, right? To reach out to Vesna, to reach out to my friends or peers that are sober, right? That's my solution. To not give in to, and there's really not been the temptation anyway. So it's just not an option. It's not, the thought's not coming across. Isn't that weird? Like, that was the Arapi for me. Awesome. That was the Arapi. Also, the Arapi opened up for me on the Saturday morning a willingness to take the salt bath. Something happened inside me. It also opened up, I'll guarantee you, for that cardinal to show up, to show me that I'm doing the right thing. And you just confirmed that, Lexi.
Yep, absolutely.
So
see,
that's
the reason for you to be on the show. You needed to hear that.
Correct. So there's something to the plant-based medicine, no doubt, something to it. And like you said, I think you mentioned early on in the interview or the session was that, are people open to, okay, you're getting off drugs, but you're going to take a drug. It's not a drug, right? That thought crossed my mind, Lexi. It crossed my mind, right?
But it is something that gives you a hallucinogenic experience, which is an escape. And you took the cocaine as an escape. So now you're taking another drug to escape.
Correct.
to get over the first drug. So, right? It's like,
Right.
like an oxymoron. It's like, how do you even figure that this is going to work? And yet
Right.
it does. But knowing that these plants have been around for 5,000, 10,000, like who
Yeah.
knows how many thousands of years, there's
Right.
a reason for them to be.
Correct.
And yet, and that indigenous cultures have discovered them and created these elaborate routines, or I don't even know what we'd call them, but these experiences that you go through to help you overcome, like it's resetting your nervous system. Because I
Right.
understand what happens. Like I deal with, I'm also a nutritional consultant, and I deal with people who have addictions to sugar or other foods that their body is sensitive to. So when they come to me for help with their food, it's the same thing. The receptor in the brain is shaped, it's like a little Pac-Man, with the mouth is like a little pie shape. And that is a keyhole. And what fits it is the drug that, you know, the hormone or you know, what comes out of the neuroreceptor that comes out of the receptor. It goes flowing through the body and comes right back in. But when we take a drug, whether it's corn sugar or whether it's cocaine or tobacco or heroin or whatever it is, it changes the keyhole shape almost instantly. Cocaine instantly changes the keyhole shape. When you're using cocaine, you're always after that first high, because the first high was a different high, because it didn't have the keyhole shape changed yet. So people using cocaine are always after trying to get to that first high again, and they never ever succeed. And they keep trying and they keep trying, but they're using the cocaine to escape something painful in their life that they don't want to deal with. And when this keyhole shape is changed, you literally have to change your whole neural system in order to reshape that keyhole, because the body's now looking for that thing to come back in, not the serotonin or the dopamine that our body is accustomed to using. It's looking now for the cocaine, which is why we want it. Right? That's our addiction to wanting it. So what the rape does, like ibogaine and ayahuasca, is it resets your nervous system and puts that keyhole shape right back to the way it should be.
Wow.
Now what you have to deal with is the emotional addiction. Do I need it? Why do I need it? What's got me to the place where I thought I needed it in the first place? Because
Right.
you didn't take the drug in the first place to overcome something. You were with a bunch of buddies and somebody introduced it to you.
Yep.
And then it became the habit, right?
Yep. Correct. That's exactly right.
Okay, so Vesna, let's hear from you now. Let's hear about where this amazing plant is from and how you discovered it.
Well, like, you know, again, the tobacco and all these other plant medicines, you do come from South America, and I really have a drive. I love Peru, so that's one of the places that I go to. And I discovered it years ago when I was in Peru, and have had the fortune also of finding these different rapes and these other plant medicines, working with other healers, other shamans. And to me, it just resonates. So, with the explanation you gave, Lexus, regarding, the shape and, of these transmitters and everything, I guess I'll just kind of turn it into more the energy side, in that everything has an energy, whatever it is, and I know people sometimes look at me like I'm crazy when I say even computers, all of these things,
Everything has energy.
cars, they have an energy. And so some energies are light, or what some people would say is positive. Other energies are heavy, or here in the US, they say negative. And that's why it's so important to whenever possible surround ourselves with this light energy, and especially not taking it into our system. So like with Brad, the cocaine of a very demonic, heavy energy. So
So Brad, I'd like to know, Brad, are you planning on taking more Epsom salt baths?
Yeah, I think I mentioned that in the benefits, wasn't it, Vesta? One of the last benefits was, can you read that last one that I I wrote, Vesna?
Well, as far as, I think what Lexus was asking was the salt baths, not the rape, but the salt baths.
Oh, absolutely. I've done it since.
Yeah.
I've done it since. Absolutely. Yeah. And just the calmness, right? Slowing it down, and something's happening with the salt, right? That I never do. I've never taken an Epsom salt bath in my life.
Well, magnesium and the Epsom salt. Magnesium is something that we need to help with anxiety. So if people are stressed out, taking a magnesium bath or an Epsom salt bath does that for us. And those are the minerals that are in Dead Sea salts, that are in Himalayan salt, Himalayan salts, like the pink salt, right? That's the type of thing that's in it. There's all these minerals that has been like really raped out of our food system. And now it's back in, putting it back into our system by taking mineral supplements or by taking baths that have all these minerals in it. That's why people feel so good when they go to the ocean.
Oh,
right? Because the salt in the water and the other minerals, even though they're trace minerals, are just tiny little amounts, our bodies use it and slurp it up just like a sponge.
Yep.
Anyway, Vesna, do you want to read some more of those benefits? We only have a few minutes left here, but
yeah, I think, Brad, what you were asking me was one of the benefits that he wrote to me was that I know I need quarterly or more as needed
or
weekend
more.
rape retreat sessions. So
yeah.
Yep,
that's right. That's one.
Yeah. And so, some other benefits that Brad wrote is I am okay with me if I'm not in first place, but I happen to be in first place. Where there used to be hostility, recently there has been a calmness in my relationship with my girlfriend of 8 years that we have never experienced. So that was huge. Yeah. So there, a lot of benefits. And I know that if a person has not really ever tried or experienced an alternative healing method, at first it may be a little scary. I definitely speak for myself in that for me, I only will use things that I know are very safe, that I myself use. And I definitely for me, it's the safety of the individual that is first and foremost. So
okay, so I want to thank you, Vesna, for being here today, and Brad for sharing your story. That was unbelievable that you even could bare your soul like that. So I really, really high five you. And for our audience, I'm sure we could spend another whole hour talking about this very subject. And Vesna does take people on shamanic journeys to Peru and other places to experience plant medicine and other types of benefits. There's so many things I could tell you about it. So if you want more information about it, please, you can watch the rerun of this show by going to our Facebook group, Vibe It Up, Multiple Streams of Wellness. And it's on every Monday at 4:00. Pacific time. And it's also on YouTube and Roku. And in a couple of days, you'll see it again on Roku and Amazon Fire on your Android and your Apple device. This is Multiple Streams of Wellness. And I thank you both for being here today. And we will be back someday soon in your neighborhood. Multiple Streams of Wellness.